My brain's been doing this for the past few weeks.
Oh, we're gonna run out of fuel. Oh, what if there's no food left? COVID all over again.
Please tell me I'm not the only one.
World War III.
It's exhausting.
Gonna run out of toilet paper.
And it's really not productive.
How am I gonna get to work?
Or good for your mental health.
What if we run out of food?
Growing even a little bit of your own food in the coming months is going to give you some level of security, both for your tummy and for your mind. In this video, I'll share exactly what you can plant right now in autumn in Australia to make sure that you have some fresh food on hand in the coming months. I promise I'll keep it beginner and lazy gardener friendly. You don't need a farm to grow these things. You can do this in pots on a balcony. I'm going to list a lot of things in this video. You don't need to do them all. Pick one or two things you like to eat and grow them. But I always find it's better to do something than to sit around worrying. Whole reason I started gardening back in 2020. Category 1, fast food that you can grow. We're talking leaves, baby. I hope you like leaves because I'm about to list a lot of them. Lettuce, silver beet, bok choy, wombat cabbage, technically not leafy, though you eat the leaves, is radish. Radish is actually going to be the quickest turnaround of these crops. You get those little baby red radishes, they're delicious. These leafy greens will keep growing throughout the next few months and you will be able to harvest off them continuously. These are definitely the first thing I recommend planting. They're easy, they're very low maintenance, and you will get a continuous harvest for very little work. So they will bolt if they get too much sun, but that's why autumn is actually a really great time to put these things in the ground. And you can buy seedlings or you can just buy a packet of seeds and direct sow them. If you've got a patch of dirt, okay, let's go back. If you have lawn, dig up the lawn. You don't need it. It's time to grow food there. Put some seeds down. You'll have a carpet of lettuce, bok choy, silver beet, whatever you decide to put there. And in 4 to 8 weeks, you're gonna have something that you can eat. Yay! And the great thing about bok choy and lettuce is when they do go to seed, you can just let them do that and then you'll get more seed for next time. Bok choy and wombat cabbage will cross-pollinate those, so you'll end up with some kind of weird variety in between, which I've done, but it's also still edible. So like, honestly, just let them do what they want. Leafy greens and small radishes don't need a lot of special food, so you can easily grow these in a pot on a balcony in just some potting mix from the store. What's not to love? And if you want to get extra fancy, I did make a video on how to build your own wicking pot, which means it will self-water as well. So if you're new to gardening and you don't want to bother watering it, these kind of fresh greens are things that don't keep well in a shopping center anyway and don't taste that great from a shopping center. And trust me, they taste much better from your own garden. So just, you know, do it anyway, even without the global stuff going on. Anyway, moving on. I feel like you know this one was coming. Potatoes! Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. They're so versatile and they're very easy to grow. If you have some potatoes in your cupboard that are going, where's the soil? Plant them. They want to go find the soil. If you leave a potato in the back of your cupboard, it will just start growing. It's a great thing about potatoes. The only way that I know when it's time to plant potatoes again is that they all start telling me that. These ones looked like crazy Triffid aliens before I planted them. You don't have to plant them in the ground either. They grow just fine in bags. Self-Sufficient Me recently did an experiment where he grew them in the paper Woolies bags. So if you've got a few of those lying around, you can just get a bag of potting mix, get some potatoes, get your Woolies bag, stick them in, fill it with soil, it will grow. They're very low maintenance once they're going. The only thing is there will be a little bit more time with this one. So this is going to take about 3 to 4 months, depending on how early you get them in the ground. The more warmth and growing time that they get before the cold sets in, the better they're gonna do. But they will also just kick back into gear when spring hits as well. So it's not fast, but in 3 to 4 months, you will have some actually filling meals, or filling things to add to your meals. Self-sufficiency is a myth, by the way. Another way you can grow potatoes is by making a little cage for them like this. These haven't come up yet, but there is potatoes planted in here. Oh, there we go. There's a couple of little nubbins. Basically, the taller that these grow, the more we can fill this container up and the more potatoes we will get, because potatoes actually grow along that growing stem. So the higher we can build this soil and organic matter that they're growing in, the more potatoes we're going to get. So really, if you have vertical space, you can just make a really tall tower and you'll have a tower of potatoes. What a great thing. You can make chips. That's actually fast food at that point. It's not fast because it's got 3, 4. Anyway, moving on. Protein, very important part of any diet, as any fitness bro will tell you, I guess. So in autumn in Australia, it's a great time to plant snow peas, sugar snap peas, shelling peas. I'm also growing broad beans. All of these are a great source of protein. And also another thing that isn't that great when you get from a shopping centre anyway. Like a homegrown sugar snap pea, there's no comparing. Like it's just something that you should try anyway. These do need a little bit of support, so a little bit of prep work's involved here. So this is where we're going up in the levels of garden expertise required. But honestly, that thing I just showed you about the potatoes, you can grow these up the outside of them. This structure we've got is actually a bit too thick for these sugar snap peas, so I'm having to hold them up with these little tomato ties. They're actually doing a lot better on the outside of the enclosure because they have such cute little delicate climbing fingers. I don't know what you call them. They'll climb up a very fine mesh or even string. I'm pretty sure they would grow pretty nicely up like one of these pieces of string that I've got hanging around from the leftover from the tomatoes. Fun fact is a cup of green peas contains about 8 grams of protein, which is more than an egg. So worth growing, right? Peas, nature's protein bar, kind of. All these varieties of peas and beans I've just mentioned, they can all be direct sown. So again, you can just stick them in the soil, water them, and they will grow in that patch of lawn that is now dirt that I mentioned earlier. Or in a pot with potting mix. Pretty low maintenance. You just have to make sure that they actually climb up the thing you've given them to climb. We'll feed you and bring you joy. Yay! Of course, no autumn planting guide would be complete without mentioning onions and garlic. Now, I don't actually think onions in their annual form are that easy to grow. What I am going to talk about is perennial onions, which are phenomenally better in my humble opinion as a lazy gardener. I have these things called Egyptian walking onions. You can eat the tops of these like spring onions, and the bulbs do get big enough that you can eventually harvest and eat those as well. And right at the ends of their growing tips, they eventually form their flower, and then that turns into bulbs, and then the whole thing falls over and then roots in the ground and grows again. Now, I don't know if any of them are doing them right now, so apologies if I don't have any cutaways of that. I'm using them all the time in my eggy dishes. They won't give you as much of the body in the meal, but the flavor will be there. And you know, if you're stuck for food, you want to have some flavor still. We still want things to taste good. In the same vein, society garlic is a perennial garlic. It's like a garlic chive where you just eat the leaves. And again, this is great with eggy dishes or in stir fries. God, that's strong. We use it as a replacement for garlic because garlic, which I will talk about next, takes a while. This stuff actually looks like grass, but trust me, it doesn't smell like it. Also, they use this as a landscaping plant in Sydney by the side of the road. I definitely bought mine though. They're a great addition to your kitchen even if you've got the annual versions of onion and garlic in your pantry already. It's just great to have something that's fresh from my garden and adds that flavor to every meal. They also have really pretty flowers, but it's not in flower right now, sorry about it. Both of these you can actually plant at any time of year. Because they're perennials, they're very hardy, they'll kind of just grow at any point. Also, spring onions and leeks, they're not technically perennials, but if you harvest them, you can just chop off the little nubbin at the bottom, leave the roots on, put them in a glass, they'll grow again, and then you can plant them and you'll get more leeks and spring onions. And if you get them from the store with the roots on, keep those roots, put them in the ground. Everything I've mentioned till now is going to be pretty alright if you've never grown anything before. It's low maintenance, you don't need compost, you could just stick it in the ground and you should get at least a season out of that soil without needing to add anything. Now we're going to talk about the hungry plants, which might need a little bit of compost and some extra effort on your part. Your brassicas like broccoli, cauliflower and cabbage, they're all going to need quite a bit of food, compost. However, if it's your first year gardening and you want to try them, go for it. Just give it a go. Side note, also you can actually eat the leaves of broccoli, cauliflower and obviously you can eat the leaves of cabbage, but you can eat the leaves of these as they're growing. But now is definitely the time to plant garlic. Garlic is gonna need a bit of food when you first put it in the ground, but after that you probably only need to feed it once and keep the water up to it for the next 6 months or so. But it is gonna be a long-term investment. Come Christmas, when you're eating fresh garlic from your own garden, you're not gonna regret it. I've been growing garlic for a few years now. You only wanna plant the biggest cloves and you soak these in a liquid fertilizer just overnight, and then I lay them out on a tray or just in some paper towels, or I used a ripped up shopping bag here, and you let that sit for a few days somewhere warm. And you'll notice after a few days they begin to sprout these little legs, which are actually the roots of the garlic plant, and that will tell you which way up to plant them. So when you put them in the ground, you stick them in with the little roots dangling down and the little green nubbin bit pointing up. I know this video is coming out quite late in autumn, so if you want to plant garlic, definitely get it in like today. Like go get some now and plant it. And just make sure that wherever you put it, you're not going to need that space again for another 6 months, because it will take a while. So yeah, that's why I mentioned the perennial versions, because those you can plant and eat fairly quickly. If you're anything like me, doing something is better than nothing. And if you pick even one thing to start growing from this list, then I consider that a win. Gardening does not have to be hard, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I've tried to make this as accessible as possible by focusing on the things that actually do, you just put them in the ground and they will grow. Growing even a little bit of your own food gives you a tiny sense of control and security in this increasingly uncertain world. I think that's worth doing. Please subscribe. I make educational and entertaining permaculture content, but also bringing joy and nature-based escapism. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I should have held this while I was talking about the radishes. It's a great prop. Free, what are they called? Alliums, free alliums. I don't know what I'm doing. If you're in the other side of the world, you can also plant these right now. You guys are going into summer. What are you watching this video for? You can plant whatever you want. Ah!